Every time it gets weirder.
At this point, I just ignore it.
Yeah, I can't. Well, anyway, hey guys, welcome back to the Lore Lodge official podcast. We are joined by my buddy Ariel.
Good evening.
Yeah, he's going to talk to us about some sleep paralysis stuff. I know we talked about the rake a couple of weeks ago, and talked about sleep paralysis demons and some of the medical history and science behind the whole idea of sleep paralysis and why you see things, why you feel things. What is it? What are the theories surrounding it? But obviously, since Aiden and I have never actually experienced it, and Ariel was supposed to come on the show months ago, and then sort of the same issue that leads to the sleep paralysis caused him to miss the show.
Yes, I have undiagnosed narcolepsy. I fell asleep 10 minutes literally before leaving to the door to come here. I think it was the Bigfoot episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
really?
while there are a lot of theories about what sleep paralysis is, what you feel during it, there's one thing that is true, and it's you, audience. I feel you right now. So,
I feel God in this chilly. Can I put you down? Would that be all right with you, Archie? Just
He
gonna.
seems unfazed by any option.
Yep, there we go. Oh boy. And I saw some people, speaking of sleep paralysis, and I saw people talking about being tired in the chat. So I thought it was a good opportunity to plug Mount Pocono Perk from Tableau Roasting Company. This is our coffee. It's a specially curated blend that I myself designed. And it's got notes of berry, chocolate, caramel, and spice. It is really perfect if you are the type of person who likes to drink your coffee black. And it's simple enough at the same time to be very, very, very enjoyable when it's with milk and sugar or in a cold brew or even as an espresso. I've made lattes with this and it's phenomenal. So if you're into coffee, you can check this out. The link is in the description. We have yet to have a complaint. I've tried it with other baristas, other coffee shop owners, other roasters. Everybody says good things. And if anybody in the chat has bought some, let the people know because it's tasty stuff. So want to get that out of the way.
but Aiden, how tasty is it?
Tasty as Aiden's thick, juicy butt.
Wait, which Aiden? Yes.
The one he's staring at.
I don't know if you guys could hear that on you. His Siri did not know how to answer that one. I think Siri just got jealous. Yeah. But yeah, so we thought we'd bring him into the studio because how better to learn about sleep paralysis than talk to somebody who experiences it. And of course, a lot of the stories that you're going to get when you go online are going to talk about, demons, and you're going to find a smattering of stuff that feels real, and then there's going to be stuff that straight up reads like a creepypasta, and it's often hard to tell where the line is between, is this someone's actual experience? Is this something that they came up with? Is this an exaggeration? Really, the best way to get it is straight from the mouth of somebody who undergoes it. So one of the things that is believed to impact sleep paralysis are sleep disorders like narcolepsy, epilepsy, that cause your regular rhythm, your circadian rhythm, and your ability to stay awake in your normal functional state to vary considerably. And it's believed that sleep paralysis, because it is caused, as we think, by your body improperly moving between different stages of sleep, might have something to do with disorders that cause your body to not enter sleep properly. For example, narcolepsy. So I guess I'll just open the floor to you. When did you start experiencing sleep paralysis?
At least to my current memory, my first sleep paralysis episode was when I was about 7 years old. It was at a time in my life, growing up in a small immigrant neighborhood, not small immigrant neighborhood, Washington Heights, shout out. Growing up in an immigrant neighborhood, small New York City apartment, I shared a bed with my mom, and I remember this particular very specific time when I was around 7, we were sharing a bed, and I woke up, but I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I had the sensation that I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Like, you hear it all the time, and this one I can confirm is true. You feel like something is pressing against your chest. And on top of auditory hallucination, there's visual hallucinations, such as, this is the crazy thing. So, at the time, at 7 years old, I didn't see the movie Terminator. Crazy thing. But when my head, when I couldn't move, it was facing towards my mom, who was asleep, but the hallucination made it look like her face was melting off, like that
Oh.
scene in Terminator.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it was very graphic. And
Jeez.
then I just really tried it. It always feels like life or death. And then for context, my last sleep paralysis episode was maybe about a week ago. It always feels like life or death. So when I woke up, it's always
like a fight or flight response.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And that was the first time to my memory that I had sleep paralysis.
Gotcha. And so
seeing my mom's face melt off.
that's got to be horrifyingly traumatic for a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like,
that
what-
age. Good lord.
What was the response? Like, how do you remember how you explained it? Like, did you even say anything to your mom?
Well, that was peculiar.
Oh, okay. You used the word peculiar instead.
No,
Mother, I found that quite uninteresting. I would like to not do it again.
A bit out of the realm of the norm for my usual day to day.
yes. Little did you guys know, Washington Heights in the late '90s was actually Victorian England.
Yeah.
After that, I went to wipe some chimneys.
Yeah, simple immigrant work, right?
Oh yes, maybe it was the freaking soot from like the chimneys that really causing it.
It was worth the 3 pence you got paid a day, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course,
Watson, we shall look into this.
Oh God. So yeah, that's I mean, how do you deal with that when you're a little kid? Like, obviously, you don't have the words to really explain what's going on.
I explained it to my mom, and she just described it as a nightmare because I don't think. Honestly, I never done too much research on this to see if it's hereditary or if it's just one of those things that happens. So to her, all I did was just have a nightmare.
Yeah.
And like any other mother would do, they will consult the child,
Right.
like, yo, cut it out. It's
Yeah.
fine. No.
You got the chancla?
Yeah. That thing was like a homing missile.
The chocolate knows where it is. Well, knows where it isn't.
It's kind of funny because the term nightmare etymologically derives from basically a Germanic term for sleep paralysis.
Oh, really?
For incubus. Yeah, the Latin term is
that's
incubus, and it means a nightmare caused by a demon. Is the later term. It also means the crusher. So of course what in the Middle Ages they kind of came up with, and before that, was when you are undergoing sleep paralysis is because there is a demon in the room trying to do something to you. And the term for this spirit or anomaly in Nordic culture, in Germanic culture, was a mare. And a mare was either a cursed woman or a demonic entity that would ride things until they were exhausted and collapsed. So, if a horse was off in the field and running around until it collapsed, that was because there was a mare riding it. Same thing with people. It would ride on top of your chest, sitting on you until you are out of breath. So the term nightmare means the same thing in terms of its history as incubus, as sleep paralysis demon. So I think it's funny that, you just had a nightmare. Well, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny that you also say that because as I got older and I grew the ability to like actually hold more memories. That's how I would describe it actually. It's always, something pressing on me. But depending on what position I happen to be when I'm in bed, when I happen to have a sleep paralysis episode, I would see like a shadow or how people would construct a demon out of it. It's like the same things like when let's say the ancient Vikings would take psychedelic mushrooms before a raid, and all of these demons and lore came from that. It's like if you were to take that, you could see where that comes from because like coming from personal experience, I'll just put it out there. When I've tried psychedelic mushrooms and I see like let's say a tree breathing and moving, I could like construct like a cyclops out of that in that state of mind. So coming from like that point of view from way back in the day when you don't have the access to resources to let's say certain knowledge and medical resources, of course you're gonna construct that it's demons. Especially like, let's say if religion and church are that much a bigger part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, if you already have it in your head that there's demonic spirits and entities out there, then when you're asleep, you know, your subconscious might go a little wild. I know I've had very strange dreams. I had a dream where a panda chased me off a cliff once. Like a giant, like not, it was a giant panda, but it was like a giant panda. Like 20 feet tall.
Does that mean that you are the bamboo?
Perhaps. It was terrifying, actually, in hindsight. I've had a few, like, weird, I don't know, back in the days before I was on Zoloft and Ativan and all that, which I'm off of now, but when I was being treated with that stuff, it totally stopped me from dreaming. I remember before that having dreams where it was, like, wild stuff. Like, not at all. And it's hard for me to remember them now. But I used to have very intense dreams. There were times when I'm told that I would, like, talk in my sleep. Yeah. So, just thinking about that, you know, taking it the extra step of, oh, well, what if I was half awake at the time? Like, what would my brain come up with? You gotta start to imagine. If I can imagine a giant panda chasing me off of a cliff in China, then I can probably envision, you know, Nosferatu standing in my bedroom. You know, speaking of like shadows, do you ever have any experiences with like shadow people? Because that's something a lot of people report, regardless of sleep paralysis, that, you know, they'll be asleep in their bedroom and the door will be open slightly or the moonlight's trickling in and they feel like they see a shadow figure watching over them.
Yes. So I'm going to answer that question. And I also, as a heads up, I'm going to sort of add to what you were saying later about the lucid dreaming. So in terms of like the shadow people, yes. When for a very long time when I was a child, I would say until I was like maybe 9 last week, I had a fear of the dark. And it's cool. I'm a big boy now.
There you go.
I've had a fear of the dark, and that's mostly because I would fall in, like you said, that's this in between of sleep and awakeness that causes those hallucinations so often that I do see those shadow hallucinations.
Right.
And frankly, those hallucinations actually still happen till this day. Not so much shadow people, but I could, let's say, be at work in front of a computer. And when I get into like that half asleep, half awake moment, I'm sort of like in this dazed mode where I'm like nodding off. And I hear people saying things that they're not saying. And I just sort of like in my head go along with it. And then it will last like 5 seconds. And then I'll just sort of snap out of it. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then at that point, I'm like, okay, I probably need a cup of coffee.
Yeah. What are, like, when you are having, you know, an actual sleep paralysis episode and you're sitting there alone, you know, in your room, when you do see something, what are you seeing? Is it consistent? Does it change?
Oh man, I don't really see much of anything anymore. It's more of okay. So there's a few things. The most lucid sleep paralysis episode that I've had was about, I would say, 6 years ago. The reason I know it was 6 years ago is because I was living in a previous city than I do now. And basically I would wake up and I was feeling the sleep paralysis. Now, the number one rule that they say when you have sleep paralysis is don't go right back to sleep.
Gotcha.
Go up, wash your face, do something, but just don't go back to bed because like you're just gonna fall back into your sleep paralysis.
Gotcha.
Your boy doesn't like to learn lessons. So, I was like, you know what? I'll take my chances. I like to sleep, so I want to go back to bed. So after like what felt like eternity, I woke up. You know, then I went back to bed. Then the cycle kept continuing. I think I would say like 4 times in one night.
Right.
And the thing is, each time I woke up, I specifically remember waking up, getting out of bed, walking out the door to prevent the sleep paralysis, but that actually was me lucid dreaming.
Oh boy.
So it was a combination of the lucid dream and the sleep paralysis. And it felt like a endless cycle for like a moment. That was the most intense one I've ever had. It got to the point, pinch yourself to make sure you're not dreaming. This time for the first time ever, I had to like do it. I was like, okay, this is getting old. What's going on?
You're like, how can I wake up?
Yeah. And I also wanted to like touch on something that you mentioned earlier, Aiden, is that that lucid dreaming about you being chased by a panda. Lucid dreaming is also something that I've experienced since forever. I think the first lucid dream I've had was me trying to fly.
Okay.
Very common.
Yeah.
You realize you're dreaming, and I'm like, okay, I have limited time. Let me try to fly. I got like maybe a few inches off the floor, threw up on myself in the dream, and because I got vertigo in my dream, and then I woke up, and I'm like, all right, that's a power I needed to learn how to control.
What's so funny about that though? One of the times that I lucid dreamed, it was also when I was trying to fly. But I was on the sidewalk down the shore. My family goes down the shore of South Jersey, and I was also only getting a few inches off the ground, but I was horizontal. But I kept having to like push my hand down onto the ground to try and stay in the air. And yeah, eventually I just fell down onto the ground. I was like, damn it, I lost it. So that's so weird. That's interesting that it was a similar occurrence in that regard.
I think it's just because of for lack of a better term, the zeitgeist. When you dream, what does everyone want to do? Like, they want to dream. Like, if you want to pick a superpower, what do you want to do? Is fly.
Yeah, right.
So it's probably one of those things that is so deep rooted into our subconscious that even when we're dreaming, we want to do it. And it's the first thing that comes to mind. And unfortunately, also, apparently anxiety is the first thing that comes to mind when I'm lucid dreaming.
You guys in your lucid dream, whenever I figure out that I'm dreaming, I immediately wake up for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I have lucid dreams, but they're more me being like, oh, I'm not awake right now. I better fix that. And then I wake up.
You know how there's supposedly that rule of you can't die in a dream?
Yeah.
I've died in multiple of my dreams.
Oh, yeah.
People have shot me.
You died?
In the dream.
What'd you see after?
What was happening, but my body was on the ground.
So you had an out-of-body experience after being shot in your dream.
Yeah. But it was in the dream.
You became a dream ghost.
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe you're the shadow person. Well, now you're just out of the frame. Just somehow slowly in post make it so Aiden just fades away right here. Then you fade away. It turns out I'm in the Sixth Sense. I've been doing this whole show alone this whole time. There's never actually been an Aiden. I go back and watch all 82 previous episodes, and I'm just talking to myself.
You don't see it on camera, but you're actually in a padded room with a straitjacket, and everybody who's watching on the audience is just marveling at this psychological experiment.
Every plot twist here, I'm just imagining the that joke in It's Always Sunny, the Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I know people who they'll have weird experiences while they're dreaming. I have weird experiences when I'm awake.
Fair.
I just a couple nights ago, and it has not happened since, and this is the weird part. I heard a rustling sound coming from the vent in the bathroom.
Oh, sorry, I was nervous.
Oh, of course. and you could ask Max. She was on the phone with me when it happened. And I went, I'm like, look it up. Like, what is that? It really sounded like somebody crawling around in my vents.
Yeah.
And there was a storm that night. Maybe I was just hearing stuff from outside getting into the vents and all that, But it was weird because I was sitting there. I was like, I really, I was upstairs, heard something downstairs, went down, looked around, cleared all the rooms, as one does, and there was nothing here. And it was just, I heard stuff knocking against the walls outside, went out and looked, there was nothing there. And had I not been on the phone with my girlfriend, I'm pretty sure I would have like thought I had a dream.
Yeah.
But it was this weird like waking, and I was exhausted. I mean, you know how rough this past couple weeks has been for me.
Yes,
It's been. I mean, I've been moving, I've been working, I just dropped my classes for the semester because I'm so busy. I've been really stressed out. So I'm thinking it was probably just stress and the sound of the storm and my brain going nuts.
Yep.
But it really felt like, like I was in a dream for the time that it was happening. And then I went upstairs, turned on How I Met Your Mother and went to sleep. But as everybody has a comfort show. That's mine. Yeah. I never watch the last 2 episodes. I always stop and go back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Before the last 2 episodes.
Because you just don't want it to end?
No, because I hate how it ends and I want to pretend it didn't end that way.
Yes. They really.
But yeah, like it's weird what your brain will do. And it seems like it only makes sense that it would get more intense and more uncanny the less conscious you are. So I mean I've never had sleep paralysis. I've never, seen any sort of like the things they describe as sleep paralysis demons. I have seen like a shadow person, but of course, are shadow people actually there, or is it our brain seeing a shadow in the corner of the room and constructing it into a shape to, make sense of something we can't see? In my case, and this is the funny part, I remember saying in a video or something that my shadow person always was wearing a hat, and it seemed like they had a trench coat on, like they were wearing a fedora or a wide-brimmed hat, and they were wearing a trench coat, and in the comments, just floods of people, wait a second, mine had a hat too, mine had a hat too, mine had a hat too. And sometimes it's a bowler hat, sometimes it's a cowboy hat, sometimes it's a fedora, sometimes it's a top hat, but they're always wearing a hat. That's such a it's such a weird little detail. And then you've also, people make the jokes. You see them on TikTok all the time. Like, just took an entire bottle of Benadryl and had communed with the Hat Man. Like,
oh wait, I have seen that actually.
Yeah,
communed with the Hat Man.
Yeah. We had a whole video on shadow people that we did because it's such a common like paranormal quote unquote phenomenon. And on the one hand, yeah, maybe it is just pattern recognition and your brain is trying to make sense of the dark. Or maybe there is something there. I don't know. I'm a superstitious person.
I should send a Benadryl apparently.
No, but for a while before I was on anxiety meds, I was treating the insomnia that accompanied the anxiety because of course, when you're anxious and you're alone with your thoughts, you can't sleep. So I remember having the there was a little while where I was taking NyQuil every night to knock myself out because I could not sleep. You ever wake up in the middle of a NyQuil nap?
Oh yeah.
You are in another dimension. You are sitting there, the world feels like maple syrup and
no, what I would recommend is just mix it with melatonin and then that'll really balance it out.
Oh, yeah,
not a doctor audience.
I mean, you do what you do. You get some cough syrup with codeine in it. You take a NyQuil, maybe add a little Jack Daniels.
And you don't do that.
And then you wake up in the hospital.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Or you don't, is the worst case scenario.
Melatonin has never worked for me. If anything, it keeps me up.
CBD works. CBD will help me sleep.
Yeah.
Not as well as Ativan did, but it's nice to not be addicted to benzodiazepines.
The more you know.
Yeah. Do not recommend.
Melatonin has always worked on me. I've always had very lucid dreams on melatonin.
Mm-hmm. Really?
But I always have very lucid dreams to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have melatonin, they're just very lucid, extra lucid, and I don't remember them.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They always say to keep a dream journal.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things always on the to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
But I never did.
I've gotten to the point where I forget my dreams immediately now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't think about them right after I wake up, they're gone.
Yeah. But I want to get back to the demons aspect of this because we talked about it beforehand. Have you ever seen something beyond just a shadow, a physical manifestation? Obviously outside of your mom's face melting off, but
that's small thing.
Yeah, but have you ever sat there and you look up and it seems like a lot of people describe an old lady or something?
So this one is very specific, and because I'm going back to like that one that sort of repeated over and over. This is going to be a very, very specific reference. That one sort of looked like that episode of It's Always So. I'm sorry. The Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay. Those are very different programs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, I will say if Dennis from Always Sunny appeared in my room at night, I would immediately assume I was about to die.
Yeah. You know,
He would be
because
the
of
most...
the implication.
Right.
Okay, you keep saying that word. It was that episode of like the Fairly Odd Parents in which no one, oddly enough, it's the one that no one goes to sleep. Timmy wishes that everyone could just stay awake all the
It's been
time.
so long.
Forgot about this episode.
And because of that, I think every night he wishes like something insane and like the art becomes extremely trippy.
Yeah, I'm vaguely remembering this now.
I vaguely remember it too, but like that's the best way I could describe it, because when I was going through like that cycle, it sort of resembled that, the lucid dreamness of it, if you will. Technical terms.
So you were like in the Cat in the Hat world.
Yeah, actually that's
Wow,
yeah.
that's a place.
And
to
I'm talking
be.
about like the live action Cat in the Hat.
That's a place to be.
But that would be more terrifying.
Yeah, honestly,
having
it would be horrifying.
having Mike Myers with his damn makeup and doing his impersonations.
Meanwhile,
and,
Alec Baldwin's chasing you around. You know, it's just not a good time.
You're not just wrong. You're stupid.
Yeah, you are with an anthropomorphized cat and a murderer.
Yeah.
This is
What a time.
This is pre-gun Alec Baldwin. So
They finish Rust, but Mike Myers is in it as the Cat in the Hat.
No, as the gun.
That's the oh god.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he does fire a gun in that movie, and it comes out with like the bang thing, doesn't it?
I do not remember.
Mike Myers?
No, Alec Baldwin's character. I feel like I remember him firing a gun and does the bang.
I just remember the one dude from Will and Grace on there screaming, "You're fired!"
Yeah.
And the
old
sanitizer.
Asian lady who's like watching like Vietnamese parliament or something.
I do remember that.
the babysitter. Yeah. She's like talking about big government, and you're like, what is this movie?
I need to figure out who wrote that movie, and
I need to figure out what drugs they were on.
exactly. I need to write them either an email or give them a call and just ask one question: How?
You
Great
know,
film though.
aside from the drug part, all that information is easily attainable.
Yeah, true.
You could easily look up who wrote the movie.
Yeah. God, but that requires, effort. I say as if I didn't spend 50 hours researching Roanoke this week.
Yeah. Speaking of.
Yeah, that's Friday's video, by the way. We actually were recording that and then didn't finish and had to do this, so we're going to be recording that after as well.
Yeah, so if you guys notice a slight change between two cuts of like his hair or something, you'll know it's because this happened then.
Yeah, so you'll know precisely what moment the podcast started.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention about the sleep paralysis, that was the trippiest vision or hallucination that I've had, particularly on sleep paralysis, aside from like the other sleep stuff. But the biggest part about sleep paralysis that gets to me the most is because, biologically speaking, your breathing is slowed down because it's still in the sleep phase. And your mind is awake. So because you are breathing, but it feels like you're not because you're asleep and thus you're breathing slowly. Yeah. So you panic. The worst for me, because I basically sleep in all positions, was when I've had sleep paralysis when either half my face is on the pillow or my entire face is on the pillow. That's been the worst, in which I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is how I'm gonna go.
Smothering myself.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, I'm like, I remember in one particular sleep paralysis episode where I'm trying to wake myself up. Usually the rule of thumb is like, if you can move like, no pun intended, if you can move like one finger, usually that will wake up like the entire body. And I was trying to do that while my face was on a pillow, and while also accepting like, well, if this is how I go, this is how I go. And I was
desperately wiggling your pinky.
Yeah. And I was thinking,
please,
like,
please, come on, Jeff, you can do it.
You need me fingers?
I just assumed it'd be funnier if my finger had a name.
Oh, okay.
His pinky's Jeffrey Epstein. It's actually really unfortunate.
You don't wanna know
It's
his name.
the soul of Jeffrey Epstein transferred into his pinky a couple years back. We haven't been able to exercise it yet.
Yeah, we've been
Transferred into his pinky a couple years back. We haven't been able to exercise it yet.
trying to get him out. But
Wasn't there a movie of a hand being possessed by like a demon, like with starring like Seth Green?
That sounds
That
like
sounds way
something
too
that would
familiar,
happen.
Yeah. The only reason I remember is because back in the days of cable TV, that had a little sex scene that sort of got passed through the censors, and 10-year-old Ariel was very happy to see it.
God, no.
Feel like you guys should all know this.
Oh, God, it brings me back to, like, just the olden days of cable. I'm sitting there and, like, watching Cartoon Network, like, before bed and falling asleep with it on, and you wake up at, 2 a.m., and it's, like, Robot Chicken, or they're playing The Room, or something. Like, what is going on in front of me?
Robot Chicken was a fever dream of a program, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was my sleep paralysis demon. Was I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would just see the George Lopez intro.
I was just about to mention George Lopez.
Just laying there in bed, unable to move. George Lopez theme going.
Up, so
No,
demonetized.
It was the it was the Lowrider, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
the
doing
song.
that. Yeah.
I was thinking it was the tequila one for a second for some reason.
It's better.
That's racist.
I know it's a little racist, but it was the kind of like subconscious racism, It wasn't a negative thing. I just made a few things up. Imagine you're laying there with sleep paralysis, you just hear the tequila song going, but it never gets to the part where they say tequila.
That would
be
that's a
brutal.
form of torture.
Yes. Dante's Inferno's first circle of hell.
So going back to sleep paralysis real quick. So you've had the situation in which you've gone from within sleep paralysis to being awake.
Yes.
What is that transition like? Like, what is the difference in feeling, aside from moving? Like, can you tell before you're able to actually move a part of your body, or, you get up, can you tell when the transition has happened?
Yeah, and that's actually pretty hard to describe. Let's see. So the way I would describe it, like from beginning to end, would be, there's that shock. Okay, I'm alive. Gosh darn it.
Sorry, I just saw there's someone in the chat's username is sleep paralysis demon, and they said no one survives. I'll be back for it.
Man, I'm ready for you.
Take me now.
Yeah,
One P wanting your sleep paralysis demon.
like seriously, put
Sleep
an end to
paralysis
it.
demon got hands.
Oh, jeez.
I go out of it and shock. I go through the realization. Okay, Ariel, don't go back to sleep. You read this multiple times. It's been proven. If I don't go right back to sleep, it doesn't happen again. But then I'm like, but I'm tired. And I go back to sleep. And then that's that's the transition feeling that it's sort of hard to describe. The best way I could describe it, aside from like the pushing down feeling, like if I could like put it in another way, is for those out there, audience, and I don't know about you guys, if you've ever taken ADHD medication,
I should. Really good for me, actually.
You have to tell the brief story about that.
Oh God, I guess real quick. I tried to get diagnosed with ADD because I think I genuinely have ADD and would benefit from a low dose of some sort of focus medication. My psychiatrist and I had a conversation, and he gave me a survey to fill out in like February of 2022. I think I gave it to him in July because I kept forgetting I had to do it. And he determined that I, in fact, did not have ADD. From the survey that took me 5 months to get to it.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. Whew, isn't that fun? Isn't it fun being completely unable to focus? But continue with your side of things. You're saying
what was
you asked me about
I was trying to build on like the not focusing.
Yeah.
The if you were to take ADHD medication, and for like those in the audience who have, you know that feeling, whether it's Adderall, Concerta, or Vyvanse, or what have you, that rising feeling. The closest thing I could describe for those who haven't is when you start drinking coffee or an energy drink, when the caffeine is starting to hit. But it's a lot more gradual and a lot more drawn out and a bit more intense.
Gotcha.
Now, this is gonna sound weird, but now imagine that in reverse. That's how I would imagine that. Not imagine. That's how I sort of felt like when I go from waking up to sleep paralysis, going back to bed, and sinking back into sleep paralysis. It's sort of like, instead of a rising feeling, it's like a very sinking feeling that you can feel in your chest.
So you can like feel yourself falling asleep.
Yeah, but you also feel it in your head.
Interesting.
Like, and I feel my breathing starting to stop. And even in my head, I'm like, I've said to myself, "Are you kidding me, Ariel?" like the amount of times I've gone through sleep paralysis, like it's just a routine now of sorts. Where like I still panic because bodily functions. Like if you can't breathe, you panic. But like in my head, I'm still like, all right, here we go again. Insert that meme from San Andreas.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Oh, yeah. God, that would be such a weird. I don't even. It just sounds like such an uncomfortable experience to go through. One of the ones that I wanted to ask about, because when I read accounts of this is the one that strikes me as most of the sleep paralysis stories that mention this end up feeling very fake to me. Do you ever hear, like, what do you, have you ever had auditory hallucinations, and like what were they?
Not during sleep paralysis.
Not during sleep paralysis?
No.
Gotcha.
No, never. I've gotten, every person's different, like, and this is something that there's surprisingly little research on. Can't say, just based on my account, you can't say like someone else doesn't experience auditory hallucination during sleep paralysis. When I do experience when I do experience auditory hallucination, it is usually when I am in phasing from awake to sleep.
Gotcha.
Or when I'm experiencing, like, let's say, the symptoms of narcolepsy. I'm not diagnosed yet, so I'm not saying that it is narcolepsy. But when I'm experiencing one of the symptoms, where it's like when I'm randomly dozing off, I hear, it's very hard to describe. It's like sometimes voices, but like it's unintelligible voices. Gotcha. It's not like, and I'm going to use this as a comparison, but keep in mind that I have no experience in this, and people who are actually suffering through this, it must be absolutely terrifying. But from what I read, people who go through, like, let's say, schizophrenia, when they hear voices, it's like, like it's you were here, like it's like you were there, and it's like more commanding.
They're speaking to you in your language, telling you to do things.
When I experience my auditory hallucination, it's sort of like, I don't know, like, let's say you're in the middle of a concert. It's like it's unintelligible. Yeah,
it's like being at PJ's and, like, it's a Friday night and you can't tell what anybody's saying.
For those who don't know, that's a local bar that we frequent, and that's actually I think that's how I met you.
That's where we met. Yeah. We met at PJ's. I forget how. Maybe you were working the door or something. You were probably working the door at Neiman.
I was the bar back. Before I was the bar back, I was working the door.
I think that's what it was. God, I miss emo night. Can't wait for this one. That's like, whenever I've read some of these accounts, the ones that strike me as fake are always a little too detailed, and there's always very pointed language, which is what makes me, like, it's always a number of things, and usually it ends up being that some, like, actual sleep expert weighs in on the thread, and it's like, this seems a little embellished.
One thing I forgot to mention, actually, about the auditory hallucination, that also differentiates it from, like, let's say, like, something like schizophrenia. where like in schizophrenia, you know, it feels like it's someone that's next to me, like talking, or and it's intelligible, and I said it's unintelligible. I could tell even in my auditory hallucination that it is not there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's at least I can.
Yeah.
Again, that's just me.
Yeah, other people might have other symptoms.
Yeah. That's the other thing I wanted to mention.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I think that's that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
we've never gotten to sit down and talk to somebody who's
Aiden.
actually experienced what.
You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Aiden, you too.
it goes both ways, man.
It's the hair for him too. Is like it's truly just gorgeous. You and Milo, you're gonna hit him a run for his money when he's on the show next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that show overall.
Yeah. Oh, not to just like casually drop that. Mini Minuteman is going to be our guest next week because we're going to be talking about the TV show Ancient Apocalypse with Graham Hancock. I think we're going to spend a little bit of time debating that, and then a little bit of time making fun of Tartaria people. So
Gotta have something you disagree
yeah,
about. And something you
exactly.
agree
Because
about,
he and I definitely have differing opinions, but it'll be fun because he's a smart guy. He's got a good sense of humor, so I think we'll have a good conversation about it. But yeah, that's who's going to be the guest next week. But for now, I think we should transition over to super chats.
Absolutely.
You know? And we got Ariel here right now, so if you got questions about sleep paralysis, he's the guy to ask. He's the man with the experience. If you have questions about the medical history of sleep paralysis from the Middle Ages, I might be able to help. But
Yep, that's a little bit more your wavelength.
Or
but-
if you just want to ask me about my day, that'd be cool too.
Yeah,
I need the interaction.
yeah, that's true. Also, I mean, now might be a good time. You want to tell them what you do, like your show and all that?
Yes, of course. So, for those who don't know, I am one of the hosts, the main host of Swifty Dialogues, another podcast that focuses on comedy. We more focus on the absurdist humor. We do sort of like parodies and skits. We just released an episode this Monday on which is a parody of a news show. It has fake commercials, skits. Great time. I highly recommend it, but I'm a little biased.
It's a good show. It's a fun show.
You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else where you can find podcasts at. Eventually, we're also going to have some animated shorts that are going to be based off the stuff
fun.
in the... Thank you. That's based off the jokes that we say in the said podcast. You can follow us at Twitter at Swifty Dialogues or Instagram at Swifty Dialogues.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Yeah, go check them out. I promise you won't be disappointed. And if you are, I'm sorry, but
If you are, that might be your fault.
if you are, he owes me a drink. So
There you go. All right, getting into the...
That's not legally binding, by the way. I would not buy you a drink.
I'm
if
messing
you
with you. Well, all right. Let's take it away with super chats. Mr. Thornbussy, what you got for us?
The first one I got for you is from Young Volio for $10, saying...
As opposed to old Volio.
As opposed to Old Volio. Saying, hey guys, I know you didn't read it, but I don't know if you saw it last stream. I just bought my cabin, so in 3 weeks I'll have my own lore lodge in the middle of the Oregon desert. Any reading recommendations?
This is the moment I was today years old when I learned there's a desert in Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Like a sand desert?
The eastern half of Oregon is basically like
Nevada?
Not quite, but yeah, it's in the rain shadow of the most western Rockies. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Why there'd be a desert there?
Yeah, it does. It just it makes complete sense. It just never occurred to me that
having driven through it, I can confirm.
Yeah.
There.
Like when I think Oregon, I think like misty forests and mountains.
It's actually kind of crazy because when you go from east to west in Oregon, it's dry for the majority of eastern Oregon, and then you get to the mountains that are literally just on the edge of it, and everything starts to become a lot more green really quickly, and then all of a sudden you see the clouds spilling over the tops of the mountains.
Interesting.
And it's all mist, and then you go through the mountains to the other side, and it's just you're going through clouds and existing in like perma rain.
Wow.
But it's not like heavy rain, it's just like a light mist the whole time.
I don't think that's mist, man. I think that's just a whole bunch of people vaping.
It might be. Honestly, it might be.
I feel like in Oregon they would probably smoke cigarettes just to be cool.
Yeah.
Like,
no, there's a lot of people like from California vacation up there.
Gotcha.
Like I specifically was going to Cannon
Californians
Beach.
just ruining everything. It's always.
They're
They're really the England of the United States.
They are.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? Like recommending? We're each recommending a book? Or?
Yeah, recommend a book.
Oh, is that what the
chat was? Any reading recommendations was the main question.
Sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. No, you were getting to the point of the question. Young Volio, I will say major recommendation is the book that I'm reading right now.
It's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Correct. And honestly, this was really fantastic to read because there are a lot of questions that he poses to himself in there that I've had for myself for the past few years, and just things that are kind of reassuring to know that one of the greatest emperors of Rome and one of the, greatest minds of Stoicism and just in general was also asking these questions. And it just kind of makes you realize, some things that you might be worried about, or some things you might be thinking about, or some things you may not be thinking about, but may be important to think about, are things that not only have been covered for thousands of years, but also by some of the greatest minds and the greatest leaders of all time. And so it may just be a nice North Star in terms of figuring out your own brain and maybe some life goals and where you may want to go.
Aiden saw the first 15 minutes of Gladiator, saw Marcus Aurelius, went, oh my god, he's just like me.
I mean, hey, to be fair, if there's going to be any literally me character that you should actually be...
Oh, yeah. No, Marcus Aurelius is great. Over on unqualifiedapparel.com,
yeah,
I've got a couple of shirts that have Aurelius quotes on them.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
I can get you one if you want.
Might have to.
Yeah, like one's got the, it is not good enough to, like, think about being a good man, just be one, or whatever the quote is. Like there's that one and a couple others. I love Aurelius. Do you have
great
any idea, any recommendations, any
yes, if you're looking for something a bit more, I would say, on the factual side, non-fiction, I don't know, this one is a bit of a thick boy. It is Guns, Germs, and Steel. That is a book that is, you may have to get like the audio version of it, to be honest, because it is pretty thick. It explains sort of why European nations got to the point where they are in terms of the world, and how it really goes down to the allocation of resources and the domestication of animals around the world, and how if you really roll the dice, it could have been really any other nation or any other region. It just happens to be that the Europeans had a lot more domesticatable animals rather than
arable farmland.
Yes. Not even the Europeans. I would say the whole Eurasian continent, or supercontinent, I think is the technical term.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that one.
The Eurasian landmass, also known as the place that people who don't know anything about history think Tartaria was.
What the hell is Tartaria? You need to explain this to me.
It is simultaneously my favorite conspiracy theory and my least favorite conspiracy theory. It's my favorite because it is so hilariously stupid. And it's my least favorite because the people who believe it are so aggressive about it. Like, the idea, and this is the thing, is originally the idea was that there was a great empire known as Tartary or Tartaria in what is today like Siberia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. You're like basically Eurasia, yeah.
Like the Fertile Crescent around there.
No, not down there. Up in like northern.
My geography.
Northern Asia. So like I'm trying to think. Think like Mongolia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So over there, they think that there was a great empire called Tartaria, and they point to things like star forts, which were constructed during the Napoleonic era, and we have the blueprints for them, and we know how they were built. Or, for example, the maps that describe this region as Tartary or Tartaria, which the word derives from an ethnic group known as the Tartars or the Tatars that lived in Western Russia and like Crimea in that area. And so we know why they were called that, and they didn't really study past that. They didn't go into the interior of Siberia to find out what was there, so they assumed it was just Tartars the whole way through and called it Tartaria. So we know why that's there. And they posit that all of this was wiped away by a great mud flood. And that all of it was buried beneath the ground, except for some of it, and then everyone covered it up, except forgot to take it off of the maps. We'll talk about it in depth next week.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
It ranges from, there was a kingdom that for some reason everybody decided to pretend it never existed, all the way to the Chicago World's Fair was the last gasp of Tartaria, and all of their buildings were destroyed and built on top of. And they'll use pictures of, like, I think my favorite was, I saw one yesterday, they had a picture of back when they were constructing the visitor center for the Capitol, which is underground on the east side of the Capitol. And they've got all of these, like, you know, excavators and everything out there, and they're like, look, they were covering up Tartaria. And I'm like, that was in 2007. We were here.
Yeah.
I think I would have remembered if they were covering up a global empire from the past when I was 10. You know, like, that probably would have occurred to me.
Fair.
Yeah, but no, so it's a, oh boy.
It's a lot. I'm looking forward to it.
It's like if you took all of the stuff about Atlantis that is even remotely believable, because Atlantis was supposed to exist so long ago, and then moved it up to like 1964. That's Tartaria.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
They say the Winnipeg City Hall. The old one, very ornate, you know, beautiful architecture. The new ones, you know, as all new things created by the government are, it was boring and made out of bricks. I don't know what it is about it being in government, but I guess it just sucks all of the artistic soul out of you, even if you're being hired to design something.
Cool design by committee.
Yeah, it's horrible. It looks terrible. But what they're saying is, you know, oh, the old Winnipeg City Hall was built by the Tartarians, and it's like that was demolished in 1964 or 1967 or something like that, and it was constructed in the 1800s.
Yeah.
No. But no, they'll find buildings or facades underground, and they'll be like, oh my god, why are those there? And it's like, well, before we had excavators and backhoes and wrecking balls, when we needed to, you know, build on top of something that was unstable or reuse land or something like that, we would just bury it in dirt and then build on top of it.
I never knew that, actually.
Yeah.
Young Volio just said, I asked for a reading rec, and this man started ranting about Tartaria. I love it.
But for a reading recommendation, I've got The Unseen Realm by Michael Heiser sitting over there, which is phenomenal. If you're interested in the more supernatural aspects of Christianity and Judaism, this is a phenomenal book. Unfortunately, Michael Heiser passed away a couple of weeks ago. I looked up to the guy so much. He's one of those people that, yeah, sure, who really, you know, inspired me a lot. But he goes into all of the stuff about angels and demons and the spiritual warfare that is supposed to be going on around us, and the, you know, things like the Nephilim and the angels and all of these aspects that you don't really hear about in Sunday school. So if you like Weird Bible, if you like the Weird Bible podcast, you would really like Michael Heiser. If you're looking for fiction, the Saxon Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell are some of the most accessible historical fiction books I've ever read, and some of the most exciting. They are the basis for the hit Netflix show, The Last Kingdom. So if you liked that show, the books it's based on are the Saxon Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. Fantastic books. I think I read all 9 of them that were out when I was in high school in like 4 weeks. What?
Can't read.
Also, for those who haven't asked yet and probably will, I have the first copy of the Ranger's Apprentice series. I haven't gotten to it yet. I will, I promise.
Here you go.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Those are my recs.
The next question.
We also, by the way, we have on Amazon, if you go to amazon.com/shop/Aiden Mattis, it's in the link in the description in the link tree. But if you go there, we have a reading list. We have books that you can buy, and that helps support the channel.
Love that. Next question's from Nick Islander for $5, saying, I remember the one time I got sleep paralysis. I remained calm largely because I heard about it through memes.
Hey, you know, memes are saving lives.
They do be saving lives. Lucario/Lucario, sorry if I got one of those wrong.
Lucario.
Flair for $5 said, who remembers that time Joker summoned Satan and saved everyone on Christmas Eve?
I certainly don't. Huh?
Like Joker from Batman?
I assume so.
I would assume so.
If anybody was going to remember that, I would expect it to be you, Mr. DC Man.
Bold of you to assume.
Right, you're more of a Superman simp.
Superman, I like all of these, let's be real.
Simperman.
I just got a poster of him for $20.
You are a Simperman.
Yeah, God, yeah. Especially if his actors portrayed, or the character portrayed by the actor Henry Cavill, along with pretty much anything else that man does. Anyway.
Aiden is not gay unless
Unless
Henry Cavill is in a TV show.
yeah, Henry Cavill is Henry Cavill. Anyway,
$20.
exactly. Yeah. Jason Mismer for $4.99 said, "I live in Philadelphia, so gotta support the local content creators. Love
thank
the
you.
work you guys do.
Thank you.
We love you right back.
Cheers.
Thank you.
We are working on organizing something fun for Philadelphia, like area people. I'm hoping to get it pulled off this summer. I don't think I've even talked to you at length about this,
Nope.
but yeah, there's a couple of things. It depends on when something's coming out. If I can get that certain something screened at a certain local historic theater,
That
and
would
if
be
I can, then we
sweet.
will have a fun little night and meet and greet thing. But yeah.
That'd be sweet." Kilroy was here for $1.99. Said, "Do a video on the Devil's Tramping Ground." I wrote it down.
He did write it
We'll
down.
do
I also made a mental note. That's the Devil's Tramping Ground. For those of you who don't know, is there? It's actually one specific spot, but there's multiple spots like this. But there's one particularly famous one where there's just circles of ground where nothing grows
Oh,
at all.
okay.
Like, and it'll be in the middle of a very fertile field, and it'll be a perfect circle. And nobody knows why. Is how the story goes. Knowing us, we will probably find out particularly why it happens.
Yep. That's our aim.
Oh,
We'll definitely get some soil samples and have them tested.
definitely. Sure. Oh,
Are you worried about removing demon soil? Is that your concern?
no, I don't know how we're going to get all the way to the Devil's Tramping Ground to take soil samples.
Where is it?
Not here.
Well, yeah, I would assume it's somewhere there, but
Pretty sure it's in like North Carolina or something.
Oh,
That's
we
the
can
one I'm
do
thinking
But
of.
there's multiple of them, right?
Yeah. Here, let me see.
What's the closest one?
Devil's Tramping Ground near me on Google.
Yeah, it is North Carolina. Is the OG Bear Creek, North Carolina.
All right, we can make that work.
Yeah, it's not far from Tennessee, so
Yeah.
could maybe. Oh, that would be a fun collab.
Yes.
I'll reach out to the Goon.
Yep. The goon.
The Goon.
Golden. All right. K Android for $10 said, "I'd be interested in an episode of Janissaries, I believe it is.
Janissaries.
Janissaries, if possible at some point. The idea of brainwashed Christians who are high status is crazy to me."
Yeah, and slaves.
Oh?
Yeah, they would kidnap young boys from the Greeks. The Turks did. They would kidnap young boys from the Greeks, who were of course Christian.
Yep.
And they wouldn't really even. I can't totally remember. I don't think they worked to convert them to Islam. But they basically were enslaved, but they were treated pretty well for slaves, and they fought as soldiers that they just brainwashed from youth to fight for the Ottoman Empire.
Sounds like reverse Jedi.
So they were allowed to keep their faith?
I believe so. It's been a while. I haven't looked into them that deeply. It's one of those things where like I'm a medievalist, so I understand late antiquity pretty well, and like some of the early modern period. But they're
Not quite your time period.
anything after like 1546 is kind of iffy for me.
Fair. Logan Seether for $2 said, "Just discovered your channel today. Sick chat, fam."
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get some medication for the chat.
Norberto Rodriguez Jr. for $5 said, "Sleep paralysis might be an overactive fight or flight response when entering REM sleep, the mind not feeling safe and the body responding with shock."
That is one of the theories.
Yep.
That is one of the common ones.
Plaz for $5 said, "Once had a flying lucid dream, went to my dad who said, 'Cool, too bad this is a dream,' and it woke me up." Rap Bastard, I love him so much. That is great.
Good to know that. Good to know the common theme here is that we all have shitty flying dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that for some reason has the same energy as that one post where it's "you cannot kill me in a way that matters." Where somebody just dreamed that, like somebody's saying that, dude.
That's fantastic.
You cannot kill me in any way that matters.
Oh, that's wild.
What does that mean? It goes so hard, but I don't know what it means.
Noah Isaac for $5 said, "I used to lucid dream, but instead of flying, I could jump super high. Also had a dream where I was chased by a giant sandwich like KND." I think that means Kids Next Door.
I mean, sounds about right.
I remember that Kids Next Door episode where they like made like snacks out of like pink eye crust.
I don't, but that's horrific.
Yeah,
I was
that's pretty
only
gross.
vaguely allowed to watch Cartoon Network as a child.
I watched it
Or
all
like
the time.
specifically Scooby-Doo. That's like the only Cartoon Network show my parents let me watch.
I loved Ed, Ed and Eddie.
I was a SpongeBob kid.
I love SpongeBob.
I was a SpongeBob kid.
Yep, that's fair. Nick Highlander for $2 said, I used to have monthly lucid dreams.
That's deeply unfortunate for you. I'm sorry.
Was it on schedule?
It's like getting your period.
Well, it's time to clock in.
I mean,
Clock in.
Chappie Grimdark for $2 said, I sometimes lucid dream right before I wake up. That makes sense because you're kind of standing awake. Yeah.
That is right when you're going to sleep and when you're waking up are very common for both lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis. Which is why a lot of people think the two might be connected.
Makes sense. Ryan Witt for $5 said, will we get a God hates the IRS in a muscle tee?
I can do that.
I need that to be the best dressed at my gym / old job / possibly future job. Love you boys. Thank you. Yeah, we should. We really should.
We should.
Do we still have the Lift Lodge muscle tee?
I think those are up, yeah.
I haven't seen it recently.
I'm pretty sure those are up.
Okay.
Spring is so painful to search for stuff on.
Fair.
Like, even if you search for something, it won't come up. So
yeah,
you kind of just have to scroll.
That Purple Daddy for $2 said, first super chat, Weird Bible is my favorite.
Well, thank you.
How'd you like it?
Well, that's one of my favorite shows that we do, too.
Yeah, it's very fun.
If you haven't followed the new Weird Bible channel, the Weird Bible has its own channel now. It is the Weird Bible.
How do I follow it?
You follow it here on YouTube. Go subscribe to the Weird Bible. Yeah, it's going to be getting its own Lore Lodge style videos once a month soon. We're kind of rolling stuff out. The History Hut is getting a video this month. Drug Folklore History is getting a video this month. Weird Bible, I am shooting for June to have that first actual video up.
Got it. Yeah, we got to
stagger it out.
Stagger things out. Yeah, we're trying to make our schedules actually work. Alec Katori for $4.99 said, love the videos. Started watching on TikTok about the time of the first Wendigo video. Gonna watch when I get off work. Forgot headphones today.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hope you enjoy when you get to this question answer period. Devin Okel, believe for $5 said, hey y'all, I have an active sleep paralysis. Many of my experiences are similar to what y'all described, but my demon sits in the corner speaking to me. My immediate question is, what does it say?
What would you like to say to it?
Yeah, and that's what I'd wonder is like, is it coherent?
Yeah.
Is it saying words to you, or is it gibberish? Does it sound like a language that you don't speak? Like, if you sit there and like, if the demon's across the room speaking Mandarin to me, then I'm like, all right, that's a language.
Yeah.
If the demon's across the room going like, I know it's scatting.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
it's
a
like
jazz
it's a scat man.
demon, but, like, I'm Scat Man. The Hat Man is there to fend off the Scat Man. Oh, now it all makes sense. That's why he's sitting on your chest.
Hat Man versus Scat Man 1v1. I would love to see it.
Rap battles.
Mr. Autobot 390 for $5 said, the movie you guys were talking about is called Idle Hands.
Oh yeah, the one with Seth Green and the one where I saw my first pair of funny bags.
What a term!
Funny bag.
Incredible.
I don't know. I don't know why he just said that. That's what I felt on the inside.
You gotta say what works for you. The terminology matters.
Your boy for $4.99 said, I've had sleep paralysis before and I've always heard either someone behind me running towards me, never ending, or a slight chuckle. Also, bussy.
Bussy.
Has to be said.
Bussy.
He is Thorn Bussy.
Yes. Read by the bussy. Any comments on that?
What, I'm sorry, can you reread it?
Yeah.
The ringing is still...
Yeah, no, I got you.
I have really bad tinnitus right now because I went to see my old band play and stood far too close to the stage, did Stacy's mom with them, and then now I can't hear.
I saw the Facebook stories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't close to the stage. You were on the stage.
Yeah, I was on the stage at one point. So I couldn't... you can tell that I could not hear anything because A, I totally missed a couple of the notes, and B, I'm an octave too high on the chorus. Which, on the one hand, like... That's really funny that I was an octave too high. I'm impressed with myself.
Fair.
That I was an octave too high, because that's like, damn.
That's impressive.
It's some range.
So the question was, I've had sleep paralysis before, and I've always heard either someone behind me running towards me, never ending, or a slight chuckle?
I hate that. That just hearing like.
That just sounds like a regular dream.
Are you sure? Are you sure
They
you
hear
aren't?
that? Well, they could, yeah.
Are you sure you weren't being visited by one of the lore lads?
Oh, God, you the Yule lad?
The Yule lads.
Yeah.
That's what I was
I
thinking.
was gonna say the lore lads is us.
Yeah,
Were we in his
not
room?
us. The Yule lads, like maybe spoon licker or
doorway sniffer.
Yep.
Yeah.
pot scraper.
Yeah. Candle stealer.
Yep.
Who are these people?
The Yule lads. The Yule lads. They're Icelandic Christmas goblins.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
I'm not sure why you're surprised.
I'm not surprised.
telling me
I'm
you
agreeing with it.
Yeah. Do you not have any strange Christmas goblins from your culture?
My mom always called me the goblin.
We don't think you're strange.
Ish.
Fair. Juliana Mizrahi for €5.99 said, I saw a woman standing in front of my door when I woke up. I wasn't paralyzed and could move / was awake. Did I see a ghost or was it sleep paralysis?
Well, if you could move, it is by definition not sleep paralysis. So that leans towards ghost.
Yeah, sorry, you're haunted.
Yeah, I would maybe call a priest.
Yep.
The Catholics have the trained ones.
Yeah, but not like the touchy ones.
Yeah, we were told by our Orthodox priest friend that they don't really train for exorcisms. They just have a book with a bunch of prayers in it, and one of them is a prayer for if you got demons. And you can walk around the house reading the demon prayer, being like, "Hey, get out of here."
That's
What's funny
Like,
about
the power
that?
of Christ compels you.
One of the traditions that I grew up on is in Dominican culture. It's called an Hora Santa, which is to this day I cannot find where it is rooted from. But I grew up Catholic. It's called an Hora Santa.
How do you spell that?
HORASANTA.
So I'm curious. I'm gonna look into that.
It literally translates to saintly hour.
Okay.
So, but what they would do is the stuff that you will find. They will go into your home, they will bless everything, and they will try to instill the power of God in you or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, like something that you will see like
Similar to what the
Fundamentalist
Orthodox do.
Yeah, and like every time I see someone like go through it, like they always pass out because like, they feel the power of God. And me being the 10-year-old atheist boy that I was, I'm like, I
You
want
got
to
into your
try
edgy
that.
atheist phase early.
Oh, I've always known. But like I was always the one like mainly this is the foreshadowing sort of my interest in certain substances.
Oh God.
Or just me trying to be edgy, but I was like, I want to try that. I want to see if I feel it. I was not allowed. But that is a very sort of fundamental, I want to say Catholic, but I as far as any other Catholic traditions, like whether it's Mexican Catholic, Irish Catholic, I have not seen it anywhere else.
Interesting. So specifically Dominican.
Yeah, as far as I know.
That's interesting.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one from Juliana for €23.99.
Thank you.
Where do you think happens when we sleep? Do you think our soul is astral projecting? I see many recurring characters in my dreams, and they're super vivid. I've been reading Carl Jung, and it's an intriguing topic. Yeah, my instinct was going to be like, if you're curious about what happens during sleep, Freud and Jung both have some really interesting theories about that. But there's also the scientific element of sleep being vital to our memory pathways and connecting our neural networks and essentially, helping us to, A, the body repairs itself, and B, the mind kind of reinforces different memory pathways from things that we've learned throughout the day.
Yeah. I don't think that your soul is going anywhere. I think that you're possibly like just your brain is working to understand things, and a lot of the time it visualizes it. I've heard some intriguing stuff about astral projection and the idea of out-of-body experiences, but when it comes to just normal sleep, I would think that there would be no, and even if you read like Aquinas or Avicenna or any of the medieval philosophers, when they talk about the concept of the soul and how it is related to the body and the mind and all of that, The idea is not necessarily that that your soul leaves your body, but rather that your soul inhabits your body, and if it were to leave, your body would likely die, but your soul would still remain intact. So I have a hard time thinking that, lucid dreaming or something like that just involves your soul leaving your body. I think that the scientific explanation that, you're just experiencing your brain trying to work stuff out in your subconscious, and your conscious mind is being dragged along for the ride, kind of makes sense.
The best way I could put it, at least for like the scientific reason, analogy time, is when you have a plasma TV on the same program or pause for a long time, and there's a little bit of an after image when you turn it off. That's basically dreaming.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Christmas loving engineer for $10 said, "Got the stream time right tonight, LOL. P.S. My dog loves Archie. He always perks up whenever he sees him on the TV."
No,
that's great.
Archie,
you're loved.
You're loved. Come here, come see us.
He's very happy just laying there.
He's chilling.
Yeah, he very much is. Goofer Trooper for $4.99 said, "Do you guys know anything about any flesh pedestrians in Washington? I have a very sus-looking deer that doesn't quite look right and keeps waiting around my car."
I mean, if you're talking about
how sus are we talking?
Yeah, first of all, what? So I will say this: if you see a deer that is behaving strangely, don't approach it.
For a number of reasons.
Most importantly, chronic wasting disease, which you probably won't get unless you eat it, but still, rabies exists. If you see an animal behaving in a manner that that is unusual, unexpected, something like that, call animal control. Do not try to approach it yourself. The likelihood that it has rabies is too high. Just don't take that risk.
But what if everyone kisses?
If it has rabies, that's somehow worse.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I would not approach an animal like that. As far as folklore of the area goes, I do not know of anything involving deer from the area. I, of course, am not, I don't know everything. So maybe I just don't know about it. Maybe it's a local thing. But, it sounds like you're kind of seeing the same thing that's described as the Appalachian knot deer, which would not be Skinwalker, Wendigo, anything along those lines in terms of folklore, but rather, the knot deer thing is probably chronic wasting disease. A lot of the time, stuff that appears to be supernatural in some sense ends up being naturally explainable. Not all the time. There's definitely some stuff that happens that I to this day, I'm like, I don't see a reasonable scientific explanation for that. I mean, what is it? Any technology or, scientific understanding that we don't yet fully grasp is going to seem like magic, is kind of the idea. Why are you looking at me like that?
You know what I just realized?
What?
Who are we?
I don't know. They usually say that we're like real life Sam and Dean, but not as cool.
What small group of investigators that usually goes into paranormal situations uncovers them to be a completely normal and explainable thing?
Mythbusters?
No.
Ghost hunters?
No.
Ghostfacers?
We're the Scooby Gang.
Zoinks.
And Archie is our Scooby.
Oh my gosh, you're right. But neither of us are stoners, so only one of us can be Fred. Which of us is...
Also, which incarnation of the Scooby Gang?
Yeah,
great question.
Definitely not the Velma one.
No.
I like What's New Scooby-Doo, mainly because of the theme song,
yes,
but I also
same.
feel like that was when the Scooby-Doo era was at its peak.
Yeah, it was.
My John was a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
But...
Oh my god, that would make Max and Kat the...
Velma and Daphne?
No.
Red hair.
They're the, they're the Hex Girls.
Do not tell either of them that.
They're absolutely
They'll be way too excited about it.
Oh, that's the goal.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe you're the incarnation of like Scooby-Doo at the movies, where like they usually have like a guest every now and again.
Yeah.
Oh, can I be donuts? Now that's a reference.
Those original two Scooby-Doo movies from the early 2000s are still two of my all-time favorite movies.
The live action ones?
Yeah. And honestly, I think the second one's better.
Really?
I think the sequel is better than the original.
We need to have a rewatch of that. Yeah. Maybe that's what, when we do our movie watching the Discord thing, we watch them.
If you have not gone back and rewatched the early 2000s Scooby-Doo Return to Spooky Island and Monsters Unleashed, oh my god, they are good movies. They are so fun to watch. The soundtrack is done by like Simple Plan, which is just... once they did What's New Scooby-Doo in like 2003, and then in 2004 when Monsters Unleashed came out, they were like, hey, do you guys want to do like the main song for the part where the gang breaks up and they need to like, and so Don't Want to Think About You, which is a Simple Plan song from 2004, is in that movie, and I'm not sure if they wrote the song and then Scooby-Doo took it, or if Scooby-Doo had them write the song, but it's actually really good. But the context when you're listening to it, that it might not be about a girl, but about the rest of the Scooby-Doo gang is so funny. Like, that is so... when you come across a song you're listening to and you're like, oh, that's a good song about love, and this is about Jesus. Like, when that happens? It's like that, but with Scooby-Doo.
That's fantastic.
That's what I thought about when I listened to WAP for the first time. I was like, oh, this is actually about
God? Yeah. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
All I can say is my favorite Scooby-Doo early 2000s movie was the What's New Scooby-Doo movie where they went to Scotland for Nessie.
Yeah.
Love that one.
WAP, but it's Wet-Ass Poseidon and it's about Greek mythology.
Oh my god. That'll be a donation goal for March, which we haven't made yet. We don't even know...
It's Wet-Ass Poseidon.
I don't even know, where did we get to in February for donation goals?
Well, we're gonna have to check. I feel like it was between 2,000 and 2,500.
Probably, yeah.
All I want to say on to bookend that Scooby-Doo conversation, justice for Scrappy Doo.
Yeah.
True.
I think they really did him dirty.
Cartoon Scrappy or movie Scrappy?
Movie Scrappy.
Yeah. Movie Scrappy had it rough.
Cartoon Scrappy.
It's no wonder why he was so salty. He was a puppy. Of course he's gonna piss places.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Archie perked up when you said that.
Archie looks very vaguely awake right now.
Yeah. His eyes twitching.
Come here. Come see us.
He doesn't have the energy. Why is he winking at us?
He's not. He's blinking, but his one eye is just way more closed than the other.
Noah Isaac for $2 said, tartar sauce mini minotaur is allergic.
Huh?
Tartar sauce mini minotaur is allergic.
See, that's something I feel like the sleep paralysis demon would whisper in my ear.
Yeah.
He's just out, he's like, tartar sauce. Mini minotaur is allergic. And then he just yeets himself out the door. Like,
oh wait, you can't forget that.
Tartar sauce. Sprints towards you.
Yeah. Oh my god. Norberto Rodriguez Jr. for $5 said, the devil is in Angel 23. Got this weird message in a dream and it disappears instantly. Came out of the blue. Thoughts?
The devil is in Angel 23?
Yes.
Can you write that down? Because I'm going to need to look into that tomorrow and see if there's anything there. The devil is in Angel 23. I'm going to look into that because that sounds like something that actually could be something.
Yep.
It is just cryptic enough to sound biblical.
Yeah.
Like...
Now, if something was whispering that to his consciousness while he was sleeping, what does that suggest biblically or spiritually in terms of Christianity? If
there's some, like, a person doing it or something else?
Something else.
I'm not going to sit here and interpret something I haven't looked into yet.
Fair enough. I just wasn't sure if there was any indication right off the bat.
I have absolutely no idea. I've never heard of something like that, but it is one of those things that sounds like it easily could have been in Revelation, so might as well look into it.
Which would be concerning if that's happening. Jack Garcia...
Oh, it's kind of just one of the main theories about Revelation from a theological standpoint is that we're currently living through the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah, and that everybody thinks that it's all going to happen at once, and instead it's like, no, it's just been ongoing. So.
Hooray!
What a tease.
There's a few points in Revelation that we definitely haven't hit yet. One is cashless society.
We're getting close.
We are getting close, yeah. Another one is everyone will bear the mark of the beast in either their hand or their forehead. Which that sounds a lot like RFID chips or Neuralink. So, yeah. But just to be very clear, do not try to interpret Revelation.
Nope.
If anybody else did try to interpret Revelation, do not listen to anything they say, because there is no interpreting that book. I took a semester-long 400-level seminar on it. All we did for the entire course was read the book of Revelation and discuss it in context with the other books of the Bible. One thing we all agreed was there's absolutely no way anyone makes sense of this. The book has been known about since like 70 AD. It's like 70 to 90 AD that we believe it was written.
Mm-hmm.
It has been around for 2,000 years and nobody has figured it out yet. The theological answer to how do you interpret Revelation is you don't.
Word. I'm doing a good job at it already.
Exactly.
So then my only question in that regard, and then we'll move on to the next, is if there is no point in trying to interpret Revelation with the mentality of it was not meant to be interpreted, why would it exist to begin with?
To tell you that the end times are going to come and to give you an idea of what they're going to look like.
Is it possible that
I should say this. Don't try to interpret the symbolism in Revelation. When it says that a great beast with 7 heads emerges from the sea, don't try to figure that out. But when it says there will be there will be no money, well, that one's easy enough. That's pretty literal.
Yeah.
Like, probably. But that's the problem, is you got to remember, this is a book that was written in the late 1st century AD in Greek. If you think that you are going to understand every single bit of context, all of the symbolism, as it's been translated into English, if you're reading in English, then the earliest direct-to-English example is 1611. If you think that 1,600 years later, you're going to understand all of the references, all of the colloquialisms, all of the symbolism, and precisely what it meant to a guy living on the Isle of Patmos in 70 AD, you're insane.
Well, yeah, that's linguistics like 101. Yeah. Like, direct translations don't always work out, especially for something that's been retranslated so many times. But I guess my question would be, like, I'm no theologian, but maybe would you think that maybe the fact that it's continuously being discussed and continuously being tried to be interpreted, maybe that's the purpose?
It would definitely, the consistent discussions on it, and this is one of the reasons that we know that the Bible has not been edited in any significant capacity, is that we have the discussions about it dating back to the 2nd century. So that's kind of like, it definitely helps preserve it, and it definitely furthers the interpretation and all of that. But most likely you're going to understand things in Revelation, assuming that Christianity is true. Because I know that not everybody believes that. But if Christianity is correct, then you're really only going to understand the symbolic stuff in Revelation when it happens. So the idea that it's given to you not so you can try and predict the future. It's given to you so you can understand the present.
What are your thoughts on, I can't remember if it was Da Vinci or Nostradamus, but there's predictions for the future in relation to...
Nostradamus got a few things right. He also got a large number of things completely wrong. Broken clock is right twice a day.
Fair enough. Jack Garcia for $1.99 said, "When's the next Drunk Folklore?" Oh, you're about to be really happy.
Sometime very soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how far along you are.
I'm planning to have it done and ready to go for
St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yep. VV Tran says for $5, "Would y'all be interested in receiving a painting from me in the near future? Working on one now, and I think it'll look swag on stream."
Yes, we have to set up a new P.O. box.
I can handle that if you want.
Yeah, I would love for you to handle that.
Yep. So yeah, nice I will be setting up a new P.O. box. We love the idea of getting fan mail. When we were getting it way back when, it was awesome. Yeah. Can't wait to get more. We're excited. We were considering doing an unboxing video once a month. So.
Yeah, we're gonna do like a mailbag video.
Yeah. So if you guys want to send us stuff, we'll look to try and do one of them once a month, and we'll be excited to open stuff up from y'all. Let's see.
Ooh, right, that's the one thing I wanted to say really quick about the revelation issue, because what you mentioned with linguistics. While I've been researching for the Roanoke video, keep in mind, this is less than 500 years old. It is early modern English. It is understandable English if you read it. Definitely sounds a little funny, and the spellings are a little weird. But it's like reading Shakespeare, where it's clearly modern English. It is not Middle English. It is not Old English. You're not reading Chaucer or Beowulf. But for example, one of the, I think it's John White, ends up sending a little task force inland to look for something. And he picks some of the ambitious and brave men. But the word used in 1588, 1590, to mean brave and ambitious, do you want to guess what it is?
I really don't.
It's lusty.
Nice.
So reading this in our modern period, when you hear that he sent, several lusty men inland, that implies a completely different sequence of events as opposed to what actually happens.
Very much so.
So if just 500 years ago we were confused, imagine going back 2000, you're gonna have all sorts of stuff that doesn't make any sense.
I like that example a lot.
Also, really quickly, just because it's touching on a previous question, Alice H said, looked it up just a moment ago, Angel 23 is a tarot message that encourages you to believe in yourself and your natural abilities.
And what was the line?
The devil is in Angel 23.
I think we just figured out precisely what that means.
Don't believe in yourself?
Well, tarot cards are witchcraft. Witchcraft is not exactly something you're supposed to do if you're a Christian. So the idea that something would say in your ear, the devil is in Angel 23, would basically mean that the devil is in... Basically, a tarot card telling you that is the devil speaking to you. Which the Bible also tells you to believe in yourself and be, strive to be a good person. But it's not supposed to be an affirmation necessarily. It's supposed to be a suggestion that you work on yourself. Whereas that sounds more like an affirmation. Yeah. So that's kind of where that little split happens.
It's the difference of, accept who you are now versus striving to be the best version of yourself. Exactly.
So what that would mean is that the devil is Angel 23. If that, assuming you're not yanking our chain, but if everything you just said is true, then what that probably is happening is something is telling you, don't just accept yourself as you are. Strive to be better. Like, be happy. Don't hate yourself, but strive to be better. Whereas that sounds more like, oh, you don't need to change anything. Yeah. Like, which is very rarely the case. There are very few perfect people in this world.
Are there any?
Biblically, no. Biblically, no. Well, there was one.
Who was it?
Fair.
Jesus.
Spoiler alert.
Dude, the book's been out for 3,000 years. Sorry, but it's really more like 1,700, but that's getting into the weeds.
Yeah. Your boy for 199 said, any plans on having an exorcist on the show? Bussy.
They really like throwing that in there.
They do.
We talked about it. We had a priest on the show. You said you knew a Catholic priest.
I know a Catholic priest, and I know...
Does he know an exorcist?
He may. I also know somebody who...
Get the Catholic priest on the show, and then we can connect with his exorcist.
I also know a theologic teacher who studied at Trinity, taught at Harvard.
Damn.
That we might be able to get on the show as well.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. He mainly focuses on Judaism and Christianity. Cool. So, yeah.
But I would love to have an exorcist on. We should to find one. Yeah. And we'll see him. Yeah. Want to come on the show?
Yep. That's another big step.
I say him because the Catholics only have hymns.
Yes.
Did you get the joke?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's dual ending. Yeah.
There.
Yep.
The hymns.
Him and hymns.
Yep. Yeah. I just got this guy.
Yeah. Agamemnon's gym bag for $5 said, "Looks like I'm a bit late tonight." Yeah, but at least you made it.
Yeah, I mean, you were busy with Agamemnon at the gym, clearly.
I hope you hit a new PR tonight.
Yeah. Well, he didn't. He's the bag.
Fair, right? I hope
Agamemnon hit it.
Yeah. Comic Nut 64 for $20 said, "Don't know Don't know what to make of this, but had a nightmare / sleep paralysis about me hunting a furry wearing a suit made of fresh animal skins, and its face opens up like the Thing. It ended up with me firing a round into my ceiling.
Like, he fired the round into his ceiling in real life?
Great question.
Like a round from your gun, or like a load. Like, you know what?
Stop it right now.
Yeah.
You stop that.
These are the questions.
Can you reread it?
Yeah, I had a nightmare sleep paralysis about me hunting a furry wearing a suit made of fresh animal skins, and its face opens up like the Thing. It ended up with me firing a round into my ceiling. I believe that was probably in... I was going to say it might be in the sleep paralysis nightmare, but like he could have actually fired a round off.
It seems it's not impossible that he would do that.
Give us a little more context. Let us know.
I'm trying to think there. Fresh animal skins. It's a little ironic if you think about it.
Yeah, no, I thought that was kind of entertaining at least.
Yeah, you became the skinwalker to hunt the furry.
No, the furry became the skinwalker.
No, he said it was he was in the fresh animal skins.
No.
Oh.
The furry was wearing the fresh animal skins.
So he was hunting a skinwalker.
Yes. And its face opened up like the Thing.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is...
Yeah, wait, you're not hunting a furry with fresh animal skins, you're just hunting a skinwalker.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that. Like, a lot of people say follow your dreams. You probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know,
but hunting his dreams might be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, true.
A little bit more of the optimist. I'd say do whatever makes you happy.
Fair. Bacon Snake 64 for $4.99 said, in terms of hearing stuff, I always hear blood curdling screams, and it's not those types of screams, but that's dorm life.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Yikes.
We know what you mean, but
I'm
we'll
sorry.
move on.
I remember dorm life.
Oh yeah, don't we all? All right, let's make sure you got it. Next one is from Gurk Roleplay for $5. Says, what is your guys' favorite Greek mythological creatures for all three of you, not just Mattis?
Very stinky breath. Favorite Greek mythological creatures?
Yes.
I would say mine would be... I've always liked is the Minotaur one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure I'm not getting my Greeks and Romans mixed up.
I'll say Pegasus.
Pegasus would be a cool one.
Yeah.
Is Gryffindor one?
I don't know.
I think I'd probably go with a satyr.
Remind me what that is again?
The half goat dudes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do really like the centaurs too, because they probably derive from the from interactions with the Scythians, because they would have been told by colonists up in Scythia that there were people who were like one with their horse, and that probably got rolled into centaurs.
Yeah.
Also, should we have him do the woo?
Yes. Let's have him a woo.
Good boy.
What a good one. Well done, boyo.
You've got to get that woo out of him every stream, you know?
Yep.
You should go.
But the real question is, if a centaur were to wear pants...
It's a good question. It's a genuinely good question. Plants for $5 said, Revelation got touched on in Brian Godawa's Chronicles of the Apocalypse. Great series, interesting interpretation. Heiser had good stuff to say for him. It's more of a comment than a question, I guess.
Can you read again?
Yep. Plats $5. Revelation got touched on in Brian Godawa's Chronicles of the Apocalypse. Great series, interesting interpretation. Heiser had good stuff to say for him.
I'll take a look at it. I'm curious.
Cool.
You want to get down?
Norberto Rodriguez Jr. for $2 says, the message was written in blood and spoken about the Angel 23 thing. Or the devil is an Angel 23.
Yeah, I would avoid tarot cards and assuming that you don't need to work on yourself at all. Remember, there's always something you can improve.
They said that it was written in blood.
Yeah.
You know what? How about you don't judge? Maybe he couldn't find a pen.
We
We assume so much of like these supernatural beings.
I know. Yeah, maybe they were missing a pen.
Yeah. No. Again, nobody's perfect.
Ryan G for 1999 said, my sleep thing that I don't know what it was I had 3 vivid dreams about a month apart, each time worse, where a dark figure would chase me, catch me, and I would wake up. Last time it happened, I thought I was dying.
Did you, when the demon caught you, did you feel that pushing sensation on your chest?
Yeah,
that's a very telltale sign of whether it's sleep paralysis or not. Did you have the sensation that you couldn't breathe? Did you? Well, you were clearly dreaming since you were running, so you couldn't tell that you were on your bed. So I would say this is leaning towards like the lucid dreaming end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Typically, sleep paralysis, your brain is awake and you're very aware that you're in your bedroom. You're not like doing other things.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not doing other things, even though you very, very, very much want to do just the minor thing of moving your body.
Derek Hewitt for $9.99 sent us a little animated GIF guy that is putting his cap from forward to back and giving us a thumbs up. So,
Thank you
for that.
Also, a heads up to everybody, we are going to wrap this up by 9.
Yes,
at the latest.
Yes, yeah, good call. Juliana Mizrahi for 23.99 euros. I'm just donating for you guys to reach 1K. By the way, I'm a comic book artist, and I was wondering if you guys would be interested in being a consultant for the mythological themes and lore. Anyway, love your work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Reach out with questions.
Also, send us an email, because if you have any interest, I also have at least one idea that I think would be a good comic/animated show that I would love to get some potential storyboard ideas, just to kind of get my mind or ideas visually down. So if you'd be interested in that at all in any capacity, definitely reach out via email. We can talk about that further. Cool. Moving forward. Just skipped my Plaz. Plaz, member for 12 months. Look at you, Plaz. Well done.
Thank you.
Skinwalker are just furries whose fur suits are real fur. You know, you're not that wrong.
That's not too far off.
Yep.
Furries are wannabe skinwalkers.
Yeah.
I'm crunching the numbers and they're working out.
Comic Nut 64 for $2 said 9mm hollow point. I keep one under my pillow. So you did actually let off a round into your ceiling. Woo! Man, that had to be a terrifying instance for that to happen.
Yeah. I hope you don't have upstairs neighbors.
Yeah, that was my first.
Yeah. At least it's a hollow point that might have not over penetrated.
I sleep with a handgun in my nightstand.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because a few weeks ago, somebody threatened to like come to my house.
Oh.
Usually I don't keep the handgun that close to my bed, but
well, we don't like that.
No.
Sorry, again, I was nervous.
The thing was, it was somebody who apparently lives around here and knew, I'm gonna have to probably be a little bit more careful with how much I tell people.
Yeah, that's fair.
From now on.
For your own, personal safety, yeah.
I will say, for your own personal safety, no matter how much you dislike me, do not break into my home. You will not survive.
As someone who's known him for about a decade, he's not joking.
No. Not just my home. Don't break into anybody's home, because they will assume that you have decided your life is worth less than their stuff.
Yep.
So, I don't know why you're in my home, but if you're in there uninvited, I'm going to assume you don't have good intentions.
Yep. It's not a weird assumption to make.
Yeah.
Anyway, your boy $4.99 says, what are y'all's overall thoughts on sleep paralysis and the demons involved? Could it be supernatural? Other diseases too, possibly? Also, bussy.
How many times have they said it?
At least 3 now.
I'll go last.
What was the question again? I'm sorry, the ringing in my ears is seriously distracting tonight.
Just general thoughts on sleep paralysis and it being demons or supernatural or other diseases possibly, and bussy.
So, I mean, for me, from the theological angle and, being being somebody who believes in, some extent of the paranormal, my opinion is that sleep is one of those times when you're most susceptible to experiencing what you might call the spirit world, I guess. So I think that to an extent, some things that occur during sleep paralysis could definitely be caused by, something more spiritual rather than physical or scientific. I'm not going to go so far as to say that's definitely what it is, but if you've been hanging around the show long enough, you know that my theory about, the spirit world, if it does exist, is that in order for something to interact with our world, it must follow in some form our natural laws. So, if God created everything, God created natural laws, which means to interact with us, he must be able to do it through natural law. Mm-hmm. Same thing with anything else he created, like angels, demons, whatever. They have to, in some way, appear, leave some physical mark on our natural world. So, sleep paralysis could be that mark that you're seeing. Same thing with things like schizophrenia, where, 1,000 years ago, that would have been, that person's possessed. Well, maybe that's how possession manifests, and we're still trying to tie together what is spiritual and what is scientific. I mean, I think the idea that there's a dichotomy between spiritual and scientific, is ignorant, and I think it's not helpful to anybody. There's, like I said earlier, anything that if you went back in time and shown somebody a cell phone, they'd immediately think it was magic.
Yeah.
Magic is just science we haven't understood yet. It's just technology we don't get.
Yep.
So, I think I think that there's a lot more to be understood about the universe. We're uncovering new things every day. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know for a fact that I'm right about anything, but those are my beliefs, at least.
Yeah, I'm just going to default to you on that one.
My beliefs on that are a little bit different. So what's the name of the user?
It is, one second. It is ya boy.
Ya boy. I don't know if you were here earlier in the chat, but I sort of described dreams as in a very, very sort of simple way, as like, if you have like plasma TV that's been paused on one image for a little bit, turn it off, it sort of sticks there for a little bit. That's how I would like as an analogy describe a dream. Sleep paralysis, however, I will describe it a little bit differently, similar to and also what you see during sleep paralysis, similar to when you take hallucinogens, similar to so it's sort of thought like how can I describe this? When your brain, the way it works is that it blocks out a shit ton of information in order to keep your sanity. How your brain always takes the path of least resistance to interpret the world around you. So what I think happens when you combine the variables, when you're particularly in a sleep paralysis, and also similar to when you take a hallucinogen, is that a lot of those walls are broken down, and then you're experiencing the world in a much different way. That one is either that you're just straight up not used to, or two, some of that bleeding effect, if you will, from just your day-to-day life, that after image that I sort of described in dreaming, is sort of bleeding through in what you see as like a hallucinogenic. Thank you.
There we go.
Words.
I knew where you were going. I want to let you get there.
Yes, into what you're hallucinating. So that's sort of how I'm sort of like breaking down, how I will break down what a sleep paralysis, demons, and all that stuff is. It's basically those walls in your mind being broken down by the variables of like the experience you just happen to be in, and some aspects of straight up dreaming.
Good.
Like that. Yeah. Noah Isaac for $2 said, Mini Minotaur from Tobuscus. Referring to the other Yeah, I know. We're really going deep with the Buscus.
That's a deep cut.
Do you like my sword, my diamond sword? I'm not going to get started on that.
Badger, mushroom. Snake.
Agamemnon's gym bag for $2 said, trick question, Minotaurs wear onesies.
Is that in reference to like the centaur question?
I have to ask Norm to draw something now.
Oh, you have to. You really do.
Why didn't you finish your ice? I gave it to you.
Maria Ross for a Canadian $5 said, I'm so happy I finally caught you guys live. I have had sleep paralysis a lot, usually linked to my narcolepsy.
Nah, see?
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
All around the world. Dozens of flat earthers all around the globe.
Thanks for sharing that. I would love to hear how you handled that situation. As coming from someone who needs to get diagnosed as to what exactly is going on up in this noggin. Yeah, we'd love to hear more.
Yeah. Your boy for $1.99 said, love the stream, keep up the good work.
Ooh, thank you.
Bussy.
I'm not even sure I believe you that. Oh, yeah, they are saying that. I was getting to the point where I was like, I think you're just adding that in yourself.
No. The difficult thing is I'm trying to figure out a different way to do it each time. Is it Bacon Snake 64 for $1.99 said, get flashbangs for home intruders. They're great.
They're great. Yeah.
You know what I got a craving for recently?
Frosted Flakes?
Fruit Loops.
Max and I just had an argument because apparently I answered wrong when she asked what my favorite cereal is.
How do you answer wrong to something that you were being asked what your favorite is?
She said the answer was Quisps.
What is that?
That was my response.
That sounds like some great.
I was like, you are Mandela affecting me.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
not real.
And I looked it up. It's real.
What is it though? Is it a flake? Is it a?
It's a Quisp.
What is it? like crisp?
I think so. Like with
it like
crisp with a lisp?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like me in third grade, I'd say quisp.
Yeah, I think so.
Like
yeah,
crisp, pronounced by a Spaniard.
Somebody who's crisp yet from Barcelona.
Spoon.
I said Frosted Flakes.
Fair. Yeah. Cinnamon Toast Crunch was.
That was Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Cinnamon Life.
Yes.
There.
Yeah.
I'm a Captain Crunch guy. I like it the way it cuts the roof of my mouth.
Yeah.
You know, because spiritually, I'm like the guy from the Da Vinci Code that whips himself.
Not gonna lie, eating like Fruit Loops, I would consider self-harm.
Really?
Have you ever eaten Fruit Loops?
Yeah. Why?
Your mouth is like cut up and bloody.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a vampire,
fair.
like bleeding from the sides.
Oh no,
Dry Fruit Loops.
no,
Yeah, I
no.
only eat cereal dry.
Oh,
I used to be like that.
you're fired.
Because I.
He gets fired every week now
I do. Yeah.
for saying absolutely unhinged shit like that.
Well, I always hated milk.
Again, you're fired.
I get it. I grew up like that too, so
Oh, he's just leaving. Apparently, I'm not fired. He quit.
I think he went out the front door.
Are you gonna make me drink milk?
How does this make you feel, Aiden? How does this make you feel, mother?
Are you gonna finish it?
Yeah.
You realize what you just did. You know what chain they're gonna start.
Oh, no.
You know what you just did.
I am the Milk Master. That is one of my nicknames.
Fair. Good point. Oh. We got really unhinged
a lot of milk.
tonight. Yeah, that was a lot of milk. You
A
good?
considerable amount of milk.
I'm lactose intolerant too, so like my stomach is rumbling.
Well, I'll tolerate it for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're a tolerant.
I'm intolerant.
Bigot.
Yes.
Not tolerating the lactose.
Spoon.
I have nipples. Can you milk
All you Dominicans are the same.
not be able to drink my milk.
Yep, there it is, and it's begun.
New slur dropped. Milk drinker.
Whoa, milk drinker.
Milk drinker. Sorry, I used the hard R.
Well, no, you can.
You're right, because I drink.
That's your word.
I got the M word pass.
Oh, this is egregious. All right, Spoon for $4.99 said, "My uncle is trapped in the salmon dimension. How do I get him out?" I don't know. Ask
Finton.
Ask Finton.
He knows the way out of the salmon dimension.
Yes.
Is this a reference to something?
Yes.
Oh boy, now I have to scroll back through the milk chain. Oh yeah, the last super chat we got was Noah Isaac for $2 said milk.
You know what? And with that, I think it's time to end the show. But it actually is time to end the show. Like, this is the time the show ends. So, oh boy. Thank you for watching, everybody.
You officially got paid to drink milk tonight.
I did get paid to drink milk. I'm pro.
Yep.
I'm a pro milk drinker.
You're a professional milk drinker.
Yep, go me.
You should put that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, true. Skills.
Big Dairy's gone to you.
Big Dairy?
We are Big Dairy.
All right, well,
This is utterly ridiculous.
Oh, God. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Ariel, you want to give them the name of your show and social media one more time?
Yep. Thank you for having me. And the name of my show is Swifty Dialogues. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you can find podcasts at. You can follow me at Twitter at Swifty Dialogues. Instagram is also at Swifty Dialogues. And we just released a new episode. Would appreciate if you check it out. And if you're wondering how to spell that, it is in the description.
Yep, everything's there. Thank you so much, guys. If you're tired, check out Mount Pocono Perk from Tableau Roasting Company and the Lore Lodge. It's delicious. Goes well with milk. With that, we'll see you next week when we've got Mini Minute Man on the show. Bye, guys.